What's up, everybody? It's another episode of the Cryptocurrents for April 18th, 2018. The background music for this episode will be provided by the background music playlist. If you want to go ahead and check it out on my YouTube profile and support any of the artists for the songs that you like. And if you want to support me, if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter at AltcoinAtheist. And let's go ahead and get into it. The big news yesterday and carrying over into today is that Pornhub has started accepting cryptocurrency in the form of one specific cryptocurrency, Verge. I actually wrote notes to just erase this part so I wouldn't miss anything that I really wanted to mention, so let's go ahead and go into it. They claim that Verge is anonymity focused, which is why Pornhub executives say they chose it over other potential partners. It should be noted that anyone can view Verge cryptocurrency transactions through its public ledger, but it uses the anonymity tool and an anonymous network layer I2P to hide specific transactions' IP addresses and locations. So it has the option to make it private, but they also have the public option as well. And one criticism of that is that, in a way, it almost has a backdoor to that private ledger, or if you forget to turn on the private function when you send something, then that wallet address will be out. And it doesn't provide anything new. It just uses Tor, which is a protocol that's already in place and that you could use. And if you use the public ledger, it's just as clear to see as Bitcoin. Now, granted, people who are being paranoid and trying to hide their porn payments from people, then they'll probably remember to turn on the privacy. But if you're really that concerned about the privacy, why wouldn't you go for a coin that was strictly I guess even Dash doesn't quite qualify as that, but it's more closer, or Zcash, or the head of the kind of the leader of the pack in Monero. And Monero has been a proponent of trying to get on Pornhub for a while, but anyway, Cody Price, the vice president at Pornhub, tells The Verge that cryptocurrency offers convenience and security. One of the reasons they chose Verge was because it was based on anonymity, and that we have been looking at crypto for some time, says Price. In terms of the adult industry using cryptocurrency, most campsites and some monthly video sites let you pay in Bitcoin, which is not as private, but if your significant other or something like that, or whoever you're trying to hide these transactions from, wouldn't even know your wallet address unless they knew they had already found your wallet address or they sent you cryptocurrency. But if they're not involved in cryptocurrency, there wouldn't be anything too involved for it, although I do see the benefit to just having Monero or remembering to switch on the privacy function in Verge. The only problem I have with this, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with Pornhub starting to accept cryptocurrency, or any site trying to accept cryptocurrency. The more adoption, the better. The only problem is that this was adoption by bribe, basically. So depending on the value of the Verge that they raised and then probably mostly sold off into fiat, or have just held for themselves, which there's a the wallet address is still holding plenty of that Verge. But whatever that dollar amount roughly came out to, 10 to 20 million, because that is the fluctuation. But if we want to go 15, let's split the difference. If they spent $15 million to get their cryptocurrency accepted, that's a lot of money. And then they said that there's going to be a global marketing campaign by the likes of which you've never seen. But that campaign was just renting a Garda truck, putting either a thin layer that they almost wallpapered over it, or just sprayed and resprayed with the Pornhub and XVG stuff, which isn't too bad of an investment. They had Asa Akira, who is already a paid spokeswoman for Pornhub, so there's not a big reason for Like, she wasn't a big financial cost for Pornhub to have her there. The models who were also there got to wear masks, so if there were models who didn't really want to be associated, well, they were still able to wear the mask. So that also made it a little more affordable. I was kind of spitballing here because I'm trying to go over their costs, and then the commercial was somewhat high-tech, but even that wasn't very expensive. It was kind of creepy. It had music that sounded like it was from Stranger Things, and there wasn't anything too crazy about it. And then if you actually try to pay with Verge on Pornhub, it just goes through TrueBiller, which has already existed, and that's just a monthly service to set recurring payments. And then there's also coinpayments.net, which has also already existed and is a great product, but it wasn't anything new that Verge had to invest. So the only money that they spent really was to get Pornhub to accept them first. And now I'm not sure if they have an exclusive agreement with them or for how long, but the fact that they use coinpayments.net and TrueBiller means that they could just go to CoinPayments and check off boxes on whatever more cryptocurrencies they want to take. It's literally that easy. And if they just want to use more stable currencies, like, you know, they go to like Verge, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Monero, things like Neo, even Ethereum, if they figure out this freezing issue, which I don't think they will, or I don't think they will in a somewhat reasonable manner as it's looking, but it's the way that it's unfortunate that Verge had to basically bribe Pornhub to start using them, but the systems they have in place make it very easy to start using more cryptocurrencies. New York Attorney General's office launches inquiry into cryptocurrency trading platforms. The New York Attorney General has launched the Virtual Markets Integrity Initiative, an inquiry into the policies and practices of digital currency trading platforms. These letters were sent out to 13 major cryptocurrency exchanges. With cryptocurrency on the rise, consumers in New York and across the country have a right to transparency and accountability when they invest their money. Yet too often, consumers don't have the basic facts they need to assess the fairness, integrity, and security of these trading platforms. Our Virtual Markets Integrity Initiative sets out to change that, promoting the accountability and transparency in the virtual currency marketplace that investors and consumers deserve. Part of an effort to protect cryptocurrency investors and users and increase transparency in how virtual currency trading platforms operate. A three-page questionnaire was delivered to the exchanges. The action reportedly aims to bring average investors a better understanding of the risks and protections associated with cryptocurrency trading platforms. Often the platforms lack the basic market protections of traditional investing platforms. Moreover, the extent of disclosures to customers about trading rules, internal controls, and other basic practices varies from platform to platform, making it difficult or impossible for prospective users to evaluate the actual risks of trading on a particular platform. Letters were sent out to exchanges such as Coinbase, Gemini, Bitfinex, Bitstamp, Kraken, Poloniex, Binance, Huobi, Gate.io, and Tidex.com. So they're going to try to get a lot of blanket information from those people, just some general outlines of what their protections are, if they offer any, what are they going to do. This isn't necessarily law saying they have to follow what's in place, but they do have to lay out what they have right now, and I'm certain it's going to get tightened up all the way to having to follow the current laws in place, and that will result in a lot less coins being on those major exchanges. Especially the American-based ones, and you'll have to start using more decentralized exchanges or just using it anyway, kind of just dismissing the ruling. Up next is Russian government blocks 20 million IP addresses to ban Telegram app still operational. After announcing the ban of encrypted messenger Telegram last Friday, Russian telecommunications watchdog he began blocking the app Monday, April 16th. In order to ban access to the messenger, the authority has blocked nearly 20 million Google and Amazon Internet Protocol addresses as of April 17th. But Russia's Telegram users say that the app still works without applying any means of circumventing the block, such as proxy and VPN services. Edward Snowden, world-famous advocate for user data security and anonymity, expressed outrage over RKN's activity in the April 17th tweet, considering the move as a morally and technically ignorant censorship effort that has broken Russia's internet. The way it breaks Russia's internet is they banned all these IP addresses that are just like normal people and other services that are trying to connect to it, and now it's gonna like close those IP addresses, which is already wrong, and ban them from certain, you know, if we're looking at it like a plumbing system and banning it from certain data pipes, that's also quite wrong. But then doing both at the same time is just extra wrong. And it doesn't even work, because if to download Telegram, banning those IPs isn't going to protect them from like viewing and using Telegram. It was like Edward Snowden said, a very technically ignorant method. Some services could suffer considerable losses due to network crashes allegedly caused by RKN. Skyeng Online School could lose up to 30 million rubles or $480,000 in one evening due to network failures. Medusa and 60 local businesses, including proxy services, have sought legal assistance on the matter. RKN has also issued warnings to proxy and VPN service owners about upcoming bans, citing extremism and calls for mass disturbances. So if you're just using a VPN, then they're going to consider you like using a VPN because you want to do terrible things, not using a VPN because you're tired of having all of your information get mined, sold, and stolen. Meanwhile, Telegram's creator, Pavel Durov, posted on his VK.com social media profile that he is giving donations in Bitcoin to proxy and VPN administrators in order to support the resistance. Durov claims he is happy to donate millions of dollars of personal funds to protect digital freedoms and progress. And that's good, because Telegram, even though it's being kind of like spanned for pump and dumps, there's good and bad to having everything encrypted and having having options for true privacy exist still. So the fact that Russia made a pretty like immediate, ignorant, but still widespread and blatant effort to try to shut Telegram down, and it did roughly nothing, is just a sign that they're ahead of the curve when it comes to that, and that even though they're not going to do their like public sale of their ICO because of all the private funding, I'll still look forward to buying grams. Sorry, my puppy is like freaking out today. He was doing fine in the other videos. Alright, there was a Bitcoin miner injured in shooting, and he blames China in the sense that they have the crypto ban. A Taiwanese Bitcoin miner... Wait, is he... Okay. A Taiwanese Bitcoin miner nearly paid for his life after being shot at by gangsters for allegedly reneging on a mining deal by not providing payment. The victim went on to blame China and their strict anti-cryptocurrency regime for the lack of available funds. There are many ways to be part of the crypto industry. Trading in virtual currencies is an option. This last situation, according to the Liberty Times Net, is what Wu Nan found himself in. The Taiwanese miner entered into a contract with gang members Zhao Qitang and Chen Yumin to mine Bitcoin. As part of the agreement, Gao and Chen contributed 47 million new Taiwan dollars, which is about 1.6 million US dollars, and apparently any subsequent profits were then supposed to be given to Gao and Chen. He had in fact not managed to convert the crypto into fiat currency, a fact which made his partners extremely irate. They pulled out their guns and shot him out of frustration, having them being charged with attempted murder. They're blaming China because they were unable to turn that cryptocurrency into fiat. So then the gangsters are like, what are we going to use this cryptocurrency for? We don't want to use the darknet. Nah. We'll just shoot you instead. China's distrust doesn't extend to blockchain technology, though, as the country is pushing hard for blockchain technology and researching it quite a bit. And they're doing quite well in their efforts. So I don't blame China's ban necessarily. I mean, it's why they couldn't get fiat, but also, like, dude, you knew you weren't going to get fiat. And even if you were, it was going to be hard to get that volume of fiat. Yeah, it was all very risky, so I'm less sympathetic towards him, but I guess I am wrong. Yes, it is in fact technically true that the China ban is why he got shot. I don't really want to talk about his token. I already talked about Telegram itself. The new HODL waves data shows 7% of all Bitcoin changed hands last week. That's just one fascinating insight provided by new data showing Bitcoin's lifelong HODL habits. Compiled by Bitcoin lending platform Unchained Capital, the analysis of Bitcoin unspent transaction outputs has produced unique insights into how cryptocurrency investors store or spend their coins. Since all Bitcoin in existence is contained in some form of that, this means that all Bitcoins have an age, not the age time when that Bitcoin was first mined, but when it was last used in a transaction. Since Bitcoin stores its full transaction history in the blockchain, it is possible to look backwards and analyze the age distribution of each unspent transaction output. Yeah, the acronym didn't make sense to me initially, but that was correct. One unspent transaction output. Sorry about that. Was first mined, but when it was last used in a transaction. Since Bitcoin stores its full transaction history over time, it's possible to look backwards and analyze the age distribution of each unspent transaction output over time. The figures balance some of the beliefs in the cryptocurrency industry which have gained traction as Bitcoin prices have grown. Short-term investors, weak hands, and market manipulation all come face to face with actual trading habits based on unspent transaction outputs since 2009. Is UTXO unspent transaction output? UTXO. Yeah, UTXO is faster to say. Come face to face with actual trading habits. Beginning in January 2018, the category of Bitcoin that are 6 to 12 months old rebounded from a low of 7.776 to 14.63%, a doubling of its population, the analysis says. Is 2018 the next HODL? Identifying what it calls HODL waves, Unchained Capital notes trading activity increases during the run-up and crest of local price highs. In addition, the data shows 58.7% of the Bitcoin supply has shifted around in the past year. Where could the fourth HODL take Bitcoin meanwhile? The suggestion is over 2017's all-time highs of 20,000. So yeah, the Unchained Capital, which is who is doing all this research and going through the history and analyzing it, is providing a lot of data and insight into kind of like Bitcoin's history and even more specifically like its market history. I thought I was trying to talk extra loud, and it still was not loud enough. Okay. This is as loud as the mic gets, but it says I'm not even in the yellow. But anyway. So, looks like we probably are going to be in a HODL wave, especially with Bitcoin maximalists starting to take over, and people who kind of already don't have that mindset are already in like the sea of altcoins, or not even necessarily in a bad way, just a sea of other cryptocurrencies. And it's less likely that they ultimately end up just buying Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin, although that could be their equivalent of like a savings, which is something that I've read online and practiced myself. And yeah, next up is Coinbase has a new CFO. She was the CFO of OZ Management and One West Bank. She will take on the role at Coinbase effective immediately, the company said in a blog post on Tuesday. One West Bank is a small but successful bank that's done pretty well. So the fact that they're bringing her on continues to add like diversity in terms of not only where they're from, but literal like in terms of the fact that she's a woman and she has done well as a CFO. And they brought on the guy from Earn.com, and they also had a couple other hires. Rachel Horowitz as its new communications vice president, and tapped former New York Stock Exchange executive Eric Skro as its new finance vice president, and former LinkedIn executive Emily Choi as vice president of corporate and business development. So LinkedIn has basically established corporate and business networking. So if you want to talk about a good person to bring in when you're trying to do corporate and business development, very good deal. Alright, yeah, and they also acquired the Cypher browser, which I mentioned earlier. is continuing to like not only even beyond being one of the best exchanges, they're trying to also be one of the best like laptop and like computer wallet providers and like blockchain based, trying to build like the best Web 3.0 dApp and Cypher to compete with things like Brave or Graphite, I believe is, well, I mean, that's the document for, Blockstack is the browser portal that you use. The Riot blockchain has been subpoenaed by the SEC. Riot Blockchain, the NASDAQ-listed company that made headlines last year after its pivot to cryptocurrency-related services, has received a subpoena from the U.S. From the SEC. The disclosure was made in Riot Blockchain's annual report, which was released on April 17th. As part of its review of the company's public filings, the SEC has inquired about certain of the company's assets classification as and amount of possible investment company assets. Explained elsewhere in its filing, adding the company intends to fully cooperate with the SEC request. Riot Blockchain's stock price roared in December, exceeding $40 per share at one point. As of Tuesday, the stock was trading at $7.30. According to data from Google, the company has also been hit with several investor lawsuits in the wake of that stock price peak. The subpoena also comes just a week after Riot Blockchain announced its acquisition of a futures brokerage firm on March 31st. I own Riot Blockchain, but I did sell some off just to prevent like a frustrating loss, because I don't know how the filing will go with the SEC, and once they look at its, revenue and what it's generating and what it's worth and what it was worth when the shares were up to $40 each, I think that's going to lead to more and more like investigating and restrictions and kind of like tightening of the belt of Riot Blockchain, and I don't think that bodes well for them. But I don't think it's so negative that I sold off all my Riot Blockchain. So this isn't official investment advice, just what I have done personally. Bitcoin mining hardware thief escapes from prison. This dude seems to be a bit of a movie in the making, as Sindri Thor Stephenson, who is accused of stealing 6,000 cryptocurrency mining computers across at least 4 separate incidents between December 2017 and January 2018, flew to Sweden on a flight with Iceland's prime minister, according to a report from The Guardian. The heist, which resulted in the theft of an estimated $2 million worth of mining hardware, is the largest in Iceland's history. Stephenson likely had help escaping. Local police chief Gunnar Schramm was quoted as saying, he told reporters that the alleged criminal had an accomplice to help him leave the low-security prison he was being held in and travel to the airport. While the warrant is out for his arrest in Sweden, his whereabouts are reportedly unknown at this time. So this dude stole all that all that mining hardware, has made all that money from cryptocurrency, has now built this network of people he can bribe or who are involved in that kind of like dark side of the cryptocurrency world, and is now moseying on about Europe. Bitcoin price defends the 8K pullback, defends 8K, but pullback still in play. There's been about 4 separate instances, almost 4 separate instances where it's gone above 8K and immediately dropped back down to like 79.30 or 78, high 78, not even like a 79.90 or 79.80 range. As you can see here, it's been a pretty significant drop. The next support level is going to be around 8,400 in the next 24 hours. I don't believe it's going to hold that support level if it even touches it today, but hopefully by the end of the week it'll be there. And on the downside is that if it goes all the way down to 7,500, which I think is just as unlikely, then we're looking at more of a bear market, and it looks like it's possible there would be more of a pullback. I think it's going to slowly increase its support level, especially as more adoption in companies and news that's not FUD and things like that start coming out, as it has been for about the last few weeks as the price has been going up. I think it's going to continue. Hopefully by the end of the week it's at 84, but if not, then by the end of next week it certainly will be. I think things are turning around for most of the large coins. And one of the reasons I continually talk about the Bitcoin price is because it's like talking about the Nasdaq or the whole NYSE or the China stock exchange. Like, it's kind of like what sets the whole market. It's one of the clear indicators of just general belief in cryptocurrency. Is how much money is in Bitcoin and what that price is at, and what the outlook on it is according to the stats, like that report that I was talking about, HODL waves, like analyzing hard numbers and saying what those market trends are. The new last-ditch effort to unfreeze the Ethereum. The least evil is how one Ethereum user described the latest effort to recover $264 million in cryptocurrency lost due to a code fault in a popular Ethereum wallet. A new effort, documented in code, aims for a simpler and less invasive way to implement the fix. Stepping back in November, the code library associated with UK startup Parity's multi-sig wallet was deleted by a pseudo-anonymous hacker who accidentally exploited a function called self-destruct. In the fallout, Parity proposed a modification to the Ethereum software whereby the self-destruct mechanism would lose its functionality, but the proposal was found to contain significant security risks. This new proposal, published on April 15th by Parity Technologies communications officer Afri Shoden, suggests simply restoring the lost wallet library with a version of the code that does not contain the self-destruct function. I think simply recovering funds is both more technically sound and more honest than the original proposal to modify the self-destruct code. Co-founder of Ethereum prediction protocol Augur, Joey Krug, told CoinDesk, I do believe it doesn't make sense to just have all this capital senselessly locked up. It's a case-specific recovery, so it doesn't have to apply any widespread code. It could just be done to the one program. But with the broader debate over the future recovery of funds due to cold vulnerability splitting the community for years, some aren't so sure even EIP 999 will settle the mess. Allowing case-by-case proposals for mistake reversals is a terrible idea and opens up all kinds of concerns. This would set a terrible and dangerous precedent. One user wrote on an Ethereum forum, indeed a Reddit user warned some unknown amount of developer mindshare will leave Ethereum if this happens. Yet the developers have brought up some sort of silver lining. After EIP editor Yoichi Hirai stepped down from his role as a result of an eruption of criticism over the frozen fund efforts, the EIP process was streamlined. Still, Shoden is aggravated by the opposition, telling CoinDesk, even though I hear the feedback and apply changes to the new proposal, I get the feeling we're running in circles here. So yeah, they're trying to just figure out what to do with the cryptocurrency funds. If they exploited that wallet, or they exploited that code in the wallet, I'm not well versed enough in coding to know that if they could create a code specific one to where if they just restore that code without the self-destruct, if that would really just restore the wallets and the funds, that is the simplest way. But if it sets a precedent to basically fix code for people who didn't code it well or didn't protect it well enough, or if it was coded fine but just wasn't protected well enough, I don't think that those funds are recoverable at that point unless this backdoor works. Otherwise, that's one thing I've been very unhappy with about Ethereum, is that they're trying to solve this with these bigger sweeping changes, or how are we going to get this money back to the people and things like that. But if the code is law, then if somebody exploited that self-destruct code, then it's gone, But if they are able to build this one-time use in order to build the backdoor, that's the most beneficial for everyone, for sure. all crypto privacy tokens see price lift on the Pornhub deal. One of the reasons that it was cited and why they chose Verge is that it was privacy based. So in the last 24 hours, Monero, Dash, Zcash, Pivx, Zcoin, and Navcoin have all climbed, with Navcoin going up slightly more than the others, and Monero going up slightly more than the market, and Monero going up even twice as fast as that. But Monero has been on a solid bull run ever since the market started to turn around even a little bit. It turned around earlier, turned around quicker, and it turned around earlier, turned around harder, and it's also maintained a steadier increase as the markets also had an increase. So Monero's turned into a pretty safe hodl. And yeah, all the privacy tokens have seen the price lift as a result, and I think as a result of that Verge deal. And I think once they do start implementing more cryptocurrencies, which won't be difficult for them now that they use coinpayments.net, assuming everything goes well with them using that payments system. And it's worked well for all the things I've bought using it, and when I've had people buy things that I sell myself. So I think they will enjoy using it, and they'll be much more inclined to accept a lot more cryptocurrencies, and those privacy tokens will be on that list. The IBM is investing in blockchain again. Their research and development consortium AdLedger is launching a proof of concept with publisher Salon Media and IBM, which is playing a dual role of advertiser and technology provider. It's hoping to get rid of all that middlemen in the advertising business, saying that there's basically a joke that how many companies does it take to serve an ad to a website, whereas if there was some sort of blockchain system where users could willingly share a certain amount of data or give you it willingly, basically just whatever the method is, give you data willingly, then you wouldn't have to go through all these middlemen to see who you should advertise and how and all of that. It'll just be out there, so it'll make it a much more direct experience, so it'll be better for the advertiser and better for the person providing all this data, being you or me or whatever individual or company is on the internet. Even companies can make money off it by releasing their internet traffic information for people that go to them and where they go, and not the information of those addresses that go to them, but like where those addresses go, where the mouse travels, things like that. All that data can be done directly rather than needing middlemen to store all the data, if it's just done through a nice Web 3.0 system where it's like built on top of a blockchain, so you can just download it and run it rather than have to like run the data storage and access it yourself, rather than having to rely on all these middlemen to provide security or analyzing the data or trying to like word nice ways to get you to consent without you really realizing it and things like that. I think the vast majority of our members, while they are really smart leaders in their spaces, have no idea what blockchain is. So if they can start to do a proof of concept and provide some very tangible results from it, then they'll start to know what blockchain is, just based on how successful it'll be for them. Datum is trying to Datum. Forgot which way the guy prefers to say it. He was on the Crypto 101 podcast, and he's trying to provide a way where you give them all the information, because they already have connections with a lot of companies who are looking for that, and that'll be the basis for how and then you give Datum your information, and then they sell that information, but it's very transparent about what you are giving away and when and to who it's going and who could get it and all that stuff. So if IBM wants to do the same thing, they are a little more funded and technologically sound than startups with enthusiastic teams. I don't know if that sounds harsh, but I believe that's just kind of factual. So this has been over 30 minutes. I got super into a few topics. The puppy got antsy, so then that made everything take a little bit longer, but I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll be doing a live stream today to tidy up my personal spreadsheet of what I currently hold in exchange wallets. So that might be cool for you guys to see how to do it in a quick, easy way. And then also to talk about what's been going on in I was going to say in a looser sense, but this was 35 minutes, so it wasn't exactly a tight episode. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and this is the playlist. This is the playlist for all the background music. Support all those people, and if you want to support me, that's another 3 ways. Alright, later.